My question is to the Treasurer. I wonder if the Treasurer could advise us what compensation there would be for any increased and broadened GST to take into account the fact that fuel, groceries and fresh food are a lot more expensive, far, far more expensive in remote communities and areas in my electorate than anywhere else in Australia.
The Treasurer.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. It's a bit like the Prime Minister said yesterday. It is Groundhog Day with these questions, and I remind those opposite that the government has put forward no such proposal, has not outlined any sort of preferred option along the lines that he suggested, and the government has responded to requests from the states and territories to provide them with responses and information. And I refer the member again
Member for Griffith is warned.
I refer him again to the experience of the Howard and the Costello government when they introduced a change to the tax system and how they were not only able to ensure that Australians were better off, that the appropriate adjustments were made at that time, and that is the lived experience. That is the lived experience of this country when it comes to when a coalition government makes positive changes to our tax system that ensure people aren't being held back, Mr Speaker. Now, I draw to the attention of the House that 15 years ago, which was the time when those tax system changes were introduced,
the Treasurer will resume his seat. The member for Griffith on a point of order.
Yes, on relevance. This has nothing to do with Lingiari, Speaker.
The member for Griffith has no point of order. I remind her she's already warned. The member for McEwen is now warned. You will not interject when I'm making a ruling. The Treasurer has the call.
So in making that reference to what occurred 15 years ago, which was the last time that we had changes to our tax system that left Australians in a better off position and they could go forward with serious changes to the tax system, back then, compared to now, an average wage earner today is certainly earning two times more than they were 15 years ago, but guess what? They're paying 3 times more personal income tax. So they're earning twice as much, but they're paying almost 3 times as much in income tax. This is one of the things that is holding Australians back who are out there and they're working and they're saving and investing. And what we're talking about is trying to change the tax system to leave people in that situation better off. The average wage earner goes onto the second highest tax bracket next year. And what do we hear from those opposite? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. On this side of the House, we want to ensure we have a tax system that backs Australians in. On that side of the House, they just want to whack up taxes without any corresponding decrease in taxes because that's how they think they can address the budget challenge. And we know that's true because the Shadow Treasurer has $60 billion of commitments out there and he only has $5 billion of revenue measures and savings measures to pay for them. He has to pay it 12 times over just to get back to a level playing field on where this government is now. And as I reminded the House yesterday, if we'd stayed on the same spending trajectory as those opposite from 12-13, the budget today, this budget and the forward estimates would be around $80 billion in higher spending. That's their record.